Research from the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, otherwise known as FINRA, show that 66% of Americans are financially illiterate. I was a part of that 66% until about 3 years ago at the age of 22. I didn't take active steps to become financially literate until after I had secured a full-time job and was figuring out how to manage my money when I would start making an income. Given that the only thing I learned about personal finance throughout all of my years of schooling was learning how to write checks in the 5th grade, a skill which I still have not personally used, I was pretty much starting from zero. Today, I'll talk about why financial literacy is so important, including its impact on long-term wealth, health, and overall well-being. Hi everyone, my name is Carly. Over the last 3 years, I have done a ton of research on how to manage my money well. And in between my different accounts, I've accumulated a net worth of well into my 6 figures. On this channel, I talk all things personal finance, modeling, and lifestyle. So if you're interested in any of those topics, please do subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of my videos. When I think about financial literacy, I think about the combination of understanding how much we have saved, what our income is, how much debt we have, and how much we spend. A huge part of that is figuring out how to increase number 1 and number 2 through avenues like investing, budgeting, and leveraging tax-advantaged retirement accounts. If you're more advanced, it's also knowing how to leverage debt to position yourself for success. When we understand these concepts, we can make more informed decisions about our money. We can understand how to navigate financial systems available to us and also better our plans for our futures. I think it's one thing to know these terms and understand these principles, and it's also another to actually practice them. So I also consider applying these principles part of financial literacy as well. When it comes to financial literacy, I didn't learn these concepts in the US school system. I never learned through school how to budget. I never learned the different tax-advantaged avenues through which we can save for retirement. Investing was really intimidating when I started out. Before I started a full-time job, I figured investing wasn't relevant to me because I didn't even have that much money to invest with. But if I had invested what I could in a basic index fund as soon as I started making money, the extra years in the market would have made me a decent return on the principal. And part of the reason why I didn't was because I didn't know anything about investing, much less how to do it. When I did open my Roth IRA and 401k accounts on Fidelity, I called Fidelity multiple times to ask basically the same questions over and over because everything was completely new to me. The interface, understanding how to trade, understanding how to project my investing horizon, etc. And that's precisely why I make videos around personal finance and financial literacy, because I think if more people knew how to manage their money well, we would all be in better positions to be able to live the life that we want, not one where we have to keep working and retire at age 70. Understanding how to use money to build wealth is important because it enables us to take control of our financial lives and make better informed decisions about our money. When our paycheck comes in, for example, we know exactly where every dollar should go, and if we save and invest instead of spend the money, we know why this will benefit us. Doing this as early as possible builds not only healthy financial habits, but also a solid foundation for a more stable and secure financial future. Especially when we're starting out early in our careers, the majority of us are probably earning the least amount of money that we will ever earn in our careers. I understand it can be really easy to fall into the trap of wanting to enjoy our 20s right now, and later on, when we make more money, choosing to invest then. But what they don't teach us in school is the power of compound interest. How $10,000 invested at age 22 with standard 10% returns will amount to $374,043.43 at age 60. But the same $10,000 invested at age 27, only 5 years later, also with standard 10% returns, will amount to $232,251.54 at age 60. This is about a $140,000 difference simply for investing 5 years later. And if I didn't learn about the power of compound interest when I did, then I very much would have fallen into the trap of spending my money now when I'm young and not really investing it wisely. Financial literacy allows us at a micro level to examine our day-to-day spending and determine what actually benefits us. And at a macro level, we're also able to keep an eye on our financial goals and know how exactly we will meet them. And because we are more familiar with how money works and how it can be leveraged, When the time comes, we'll also have a better idea of what to think about as we approach financial decisions that will impact our futures. This might look like which loans to take out, the norms for mortgage rates and car loans, etc. When you know how to budget your money and what is possible given your income, how much you've saved, what your investing horizon is, which is basically how long you expect your money to remain in the market, you can set more realistic goals for yourself that you know you can achieve. On the flip side, financial illiteracy leads to debt accumulation. It leads to poor credit scores and financial stress. These are impacts which accumulate even on our physical health. A study from the National Library of Medicine showed that high financial debt is associated with higher perceived stress and depression, worse self-reported general health, and higher diastolic blood pressure. Chronic stress is related to financial instability and can really take a toll on our mental and physical well-being. When we're in a state of stress, we might also not be in the right state of mind to make important financial decisions, especially when these decisions can impact our long-term futures. Around 57% of Americans say that they can't afford a $1,000 emergency. If we're unprepared for an unexpected expense, we may have to go into debt to pay this off. One access to debt, for example, that many Americans have is credit cards, and the interest rates on credit cards are generally really high, up to like 20% or more sometimes. If we aren't paying off our credit card bills in full every month, we are accumulating interest, which makes our $1,000 emergency now cost substantially more than $1,000 by the time we pay it off. I mentioned earlier that research from FINRA shows that 66% of Americans are financially illiterate. In order to not fall into that category, having a solid understanding of how to manage our money well will lead to economic preparedness and financial literacy. The fact of the matter is, items and services are getting more expensive. That's been my observation. Between shrinkflation and inflation, also the impacts of layoffs over the last couple of years, financial literacy is more important now than ever, in my opinion. The forethought to, for example, set up an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses and keep money invested in the market can be the difference between us falling into a cycle of debt versus being able to pay off unexpected costs that may accrue. Financial literacy is an ongoing learning for me. I don't know that I will ever consider myself fully financial literate simply because the landscape is constantly changing. Right now, I just know what is relevant to me for what I need to meet my financial goals. Eventually, my goals will evolve and I will learn more based off of that. For example, I don't know much about buying a home or owning a car right now because I'm just not at that point in my life where I need to be thinking about all of those things. When it comes to financial literacy, I think it's really important to be on top of knowing how much we have saved, what our income is, and comparing those stats to how much debt we have and how much we spend on a regular basis. Understanding how to invest and the importance of setting ourselves up well will prevent us from being financially illiterate, which leads to debt accumulation, poor credit scores, and poor financial and physical well-being. If you're here, I think you're already in a great position, and I think it's really helpful to learn about what many different creators have to say in this area too. If you like this video, please like and subscribe because it really helps out this channel a lot. If you're interested in learning more from me, I think this video here on easy financial habits to adopt for long-term wealth would be a great next video to watch.